AI with Alex Merced.
Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced, your friendly neighborhood data lakehouse and AI guy. And in this video, I wanted to talk about is what is a data lakehouse? So we've talked about sort of why there's this thing needed, the data lakehouse, because interoperability was a problem. But how does a data lakehouse solve this problem? And there's sort of a couple different primary pieces that make this, that change the shift. The idea is the decoupling of storage and processing. So instead of saying, hey, the same system handles the storage of the data, handles the metadata of the data, handles the cataloging of the data, handles the processing of the data, and you have this sort of really vertically integrated system that only knows how to talk within itself. The idea was about how do we separate these things? How about we say the storage, the way we store the data, is agnostic to the system that processes the data. So if we can say, hey, let's all agree to store the data the same way, have the same metadata, and maybe have a similar way of catalogs working to track that data, but then any processing system, long as it knows what that standard is, can now talk to that data. So we're no longer blocked between the systems that we choose. So one department could choose X system to work with their data for a variety of different reasons, because maybe it's ideal for the types of workloads that they have. And they're not blocked because another department uses a different piece of software to process data. Because long as the data is then stored in the same way, using the same type of metadata, and the systems that they choose know that standard, now you have interoperability between these different parts of the organization. And this also allows us to have to make less copies of the data, because now you're no longer making copies, not just from operational to your analytical system, but now you are no longer making copies between departments because different departments are using different non-interoperable systems. So basically what the data lakehouse said is you know what? Let's all agree to store the data in the same way. And if that's the case, then we can use whatever software we'd like without bottlenecking each other. And there's a lot of other benefits to that. Again, that saves you money because you're not making as many copies of the data. It allows everyone to work on optimizing around the same pattern. So everyone's working around optimizing the same ways of storing the data, which allows the work that everybody does for optimization to benefit each other, allowing just sort of a very good community network effect. Now, in the next video, we'll talk about the specific standards that arose that have become sort of the backbone of this data lakehouse era. Across the different pieces of how these systems work. So I'll see you there. Have a good day.
Learn more with books from books.alexmerced.